Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel or website. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Before we proceed any further, I should mention that there is a set of 5 pieces times 55 sets, and this watch is part of one of those sets. Although this watch has been built in a series of 2,020 pieces for general public consumption, the sets of 55 feature matched serial numbers and all 5 of the Olympic 2020 Moonwatch chronographs. This watch is part of a set. We have the other 4. That said, let me explain the most attractive model of the set. This, nicknamed the Rising Sun by Fratello Watches, connoisseurs of the Speedmaster models, is a fantastic Omega Speedmaster professional moonwatch Tokyo 2020, a watch that features a 42mm steel case, a sapphire crystal, and thus a thinner profile than the standard moonwatch at 13.9mm, 48.5mm lug-to-lug. If you include the solid end links, the watch is 54mm across the wrist with a 20mm spacing between the lugs. True enough, you can see the Tokyo 2020 logo on the reverse side. These watches are already collectible because of the decision to postpone the games. So like all Tokyo 2020 memorabilia, these are going to be historically collectible curiosities, yes, but also objectively attractive and desirable as designs. Taking a quick look, you can see this one is out of 55, and it is a very special edition. The timepiece, of course, wears like a standard moonwatch on my wrist. It's amazing to think that this watch was 42mm back in the 1960s. It must have seemed gargantuan by the standards of the time. There's the cuff shot, and this one with the sapphire crystal is a little bit more than half a millimeter thinner than the standard watch with its Hesalite. You can see that down the barrel shot, the lugs themselves are fairly short across the wrist, but the bracelet extends a little bit. I could recommend the watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, and then you can also see the overhead shot where the watch itself isn't that broad, but the end links of the bracelet flare out to give the watch an impressive wrist presence. Now, taking a quick look at the bracelet and the clasp, you can see we chart the changes from 90s to the present, and the moonwatch has moved upscale. Well, this is a special edition. The bracelet that's included is one that is making its way throughout the moonwatch collection. So oval cross-section individual links, polished intermediates. There's a little bit of a adhesive strip still on it. That's just adhesive. You could see that there are removable links fixed by screws. These used to be spring, or I should say pins and sleeves. And then we have a milled out clasp with twin trigger release, and this does feel redoubtable. But then you get inside and you can see it features a push button incremental sizing slider. So this is a lot like the incremental sizing slider you get on the Seamaster Diver 300 meters. So the watch itself feels as solid as a dive watch on the wrist. Now, taking a quick look at the case, you can see it's standard moonwatch fare, 42mm lyre-shaped lugs. They flare outwards, they flare inwards, they're polished outboard, and there's a thin satin finished strip along both sides of the case. You have that asymmetrical semi-shield or shear guard profile that was introduced on the first Speedmaster Professional in the mid-1960s, and pump-style pushers in high polish. You can also see that the bezel edge is of high polish, and then we have a tachymeter scale in red anodized aluminum. The reason this has been nicknamed the Rising Sun is, of course, its similarity to the colors of the Japanese flag, and that continues on the dial, which I should mention is media blasted but not platinum. It does have the exact same look of platinum dials issued by Omega and Rolex in the past, and for that reason, this is probably the most visually impressive and attractive of the 5-watch collection. Now, I'm also going to reiterate that this is box section sapphire. It's not Hesalite like a standard moonwatch. You'll also appreciate the fact that it doesn't feature printed indices like a standard moonwatch. It features faceted individual indices for the hours, as well as an applique Omega logo. And of course, we have a few shocks of red on the dial to keep consistent with the theme. This watch is nominally a tribute to the red Olympic ring. Each one of the 5 watches does feature an Olympic color on its bezel and dial, but this particular watch, of course, being a match for the Japanese flag, feels a little bit more, shall we say, apropos for a Japanese Summer Olympic Games. Now, taking a quick look at the case back, there's not a whole lot to see. You saw the Tokyo 2020 dedication. Inside is a standard Moonwatch caliber. So based on the Lemania 1873 Bausch, this is the Omega 1861. Now, of course, it's a movement that's still issued by NASA and used for spaceflight and even spacewalks. Inside this case, it's 50 meters water resistant, beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, manual wind, 48-hour power reserve, pivots on 18 joules, and it features a very crisp cam system. It's a cam lateral clutch chrono, the advantages of which are principally durability compared to a column wheel system. And while a column wheel system can be sharper and crisper in theory, the reality of Omega and Lemania's technical might inside the Swatch group today is that this cam system feels as sharp as any column wheel chronograph. This is an awesome watch. Once again, we do have the full set of 5, at least for now. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Moonwatch Tokyo 2020.